Yes, team, and welcome back to session 49 of Mindset Mastery. I'm going to have to plan an absolute banger for next week, that's for sure. So today's training is going to be entitled Why Being Selfish is Best for Everyone. And how crazy is it that from probably as long as we can remember being alive, we're very much taught to be unselfish, and being unselfish or selfless makes you a good person. So you might be a little bit confused right now saying, because we often talk negatively, oh my God, he is so selfish. It's very often used as a negative. That's not what I mean. There's a way that it should be used that is best for you and is best for everyone. Now, Michael Jordan famously quoted, "To be successful in life, you have to be selfish, or else you will never achieve anything. Once you have reached your highest level, then you have to be unselfish. Stay reachable, stay in touch, and don't isolate." So if you want to get anywhere in life, you're going to have to be a little bit selfish. And if you want your loved ones to be happy and have an amazing life, you're going to have to be a little bit selfish. And this may instantly trigger people because there's two angles to this, and I've discussed this with so many of you in your weekly check-ins, the guys that are on Unbreakable Elite. So Mother Teresa syndrome. So it's very much easier to spend our life running around, wiping everyone else's asses, doing everything for everyone. You know, that typical person that, oh God, she just does everything for anyone else. She never thinks about herself. And essentially to the level where the person doing it is actually run down and miserable all the time. But there's several mindset things going on here, right? One, we tend to do that because essentially it makes us feel good, right? Doing things for other people makes you feel good. And I'm not saying don't do that. Absolutely do that. But very often, doing things for the kids, doing things for the husband or wife, doing something for the friends, clicking your fingers every time someone says, hey, can you come and do this, is a smokescreen for the fact that it's a lot easier than doing the work that we need to do to move forwards. Essentially, it's very often easier to help someone else than it is to help yourself. But then we complain about being miserable, being run down, being stressed, being too busy, being overwhelmed. So we have to get a balance right, and we're going to kind of discuss this here. So as I said, as long as you've probably been alive, you've been told not to be selfish, and that selfish people are bad, and that selfless people are amazing. You know, oh, he just always puts other people before himself. Almost like if you give up your entire life for everyone else, then that makes you a good person. I don't believe it. I'm not buying into it. It makes you miserable. When you are selfish and you create an amazing life for yourself and you're happy, then everybody else gets the best version of you and it works for everyone. Now, being selfish doesn't mean you need to be an arsehole. Very different, okay? And that's a polite word for using it maybe. But it means you have to own your own life. And you can make other people happy and do things for other people by doing things for yourself. It's the classic Ryanair analogy, right? Fit your own oxygen mask first. If you're tired, run down, stressed, overwhelmed, fat, tired, and everything else in between, are you really in the best position to bring your kids up? Are you really the partner that your partner wants? Are you the best boss possible? Do you have the energy to do all the things that you want to do? Or are you just completely run down all the time because it's easier to put other people first than it is to sort your own shit out? Like, give, but give from a cup that's full and overflowing. Don't keep giving from an empty cup, because what you're giving is essentially shite anyway. So the Ryanair analogy says that obviously we need to fit our own oxygen mask first. And it's absolutely right, because what they're saying is if you're dead on the plane, then you're in no position to save your 3 kids and your partner that are on the plane. So you have to protect yourself first in order to then be able to protect them. This is exactly the same as what I've learned as a first aider. If you came across a road traffic accident, the very first thing, irrelevant of who needs you and how much pain they're in and how close to death they are, is you have to secure the accident site. You have to make sure that you're not going to get injured trying to help people, because if you do, everyone's screwed, aren't they? And we need to apply that in life, okay? So being selfish is actually the first step to owning your own life, because if you're generally not, and you're not living the life that you want, and you're not doing the things that you want, and you're putting yourself first, then you're always going to feel bad about yourself. You're always going to feel a little bit worthless compared to everyone else. You're always going to be kind of operating from a position of lack and a position of self-worth, because you're essentially saying everybody in the world is more important than me. They're not. You're important too, and I want you to know that. And a classic phrase with this is, I did a Twitter meme on this years ago, and it's just come to my mind now, when, how often do you hear parents say, oh, I'd die for my kids? Like, your kids don't want you to die for them. They don't want you tired, run down, stressed and miserable and living a completely inauthentic, meaningless life because you're putting everyone before yourself. Like, they want you to be happy. What a reframe. God, I'm going to live for my kids. I'm going to put me first. So I'm the best possible version of me, and I'm happy, driven and focused and successful, and my energy's on point, because that's the version of me that I want my kids to have. Not the tired, miserable, run-down, stressed one that puts everyone else first. As I said, very often as a smoke screen for the fact that it's easier very often to do things for someone else than it is to do them for yourself. There's no risk of failure, is there? So it's very much ancient thinking. We work for other people, we do what we're told, we get paid, we put food on the table, and we stay quiet. I think it was last week, wasn't I, said about, going with the flow. The only thing that should really be going with the flow is dead fish, and I'm pretty sure none of you watching this wants to be a dead fish. So if we're not careful, you'll spend your entire life doing things for other people, your entire life living someone else's life, your entire life never tracing your dreams because you put everyone else first because it feels good, and literally ignoring your own feelings, your own goals, your own dreams, your own ambitions and everything in between. That is a one-way road to misery and regret, and none of your loved ones would want that for you. So, make a decision today. If you're not happy, if you're tired, if you're run down, if you're overwhelmed, if you're stressed, if you don't like your career, to make that change. Because if you're miserable and run down and stressed and tired, then everyone in your life is going to be miserable, run down, stressed and tired. And we're all connected, and all energy is connected, and that's the energy that you're going to be giving out. So if you want to do and be and have great things, then go for it and do the work, because when you're thriving, everybody in your life is thriving. I promise you that. And you can then be the example, not the warning. But don't spend your entire life living someone else's life just because you've been led to believe that that makes you a good person. It doesn't. So when you're essentially a little bit selfish, then everyone's life is better, because when you put yourself first and you live an authentic life, you'll essentially be happy. If you're not living an authentic life, you're always going to have chaos in your head. This is why people say, oh, you've changed. Yeah, I have changed. I haven't actually changed. I've actually gone back to who I was truly meant to be, rather than being who I'd become, either as a result of programming or as a result of always putting other people before myself. And as I said, I'm not saying don't do nice things for nice people, but essentially think of the mindset reality of it. If you always put yourself at the bottom of the pile, well, other people are going to put you there too. I've discussed this so many times. No one will ever value you over your ability to value yourself. No one will ever trust and love you over your ability to love and trust yourself. It all starts within, and it's not selfish, okay? You need to sort yourself out before trying to fix the world, and then give from an abundance and an overflow once you've done that. So How can we really do this? And you guys know in these last few trainings, I've become really obsessed with action steps. And I used to be a guy who was so into mindset, and I still am, so into personal growth and development. And essentially the truth is we all need it, and we all need to work on it for 30 minutes a day, I would say. But there's a hell of a lot of personal development books on the market. There's people telling me that they're consuming 10, 15, 16 hours a week, which is just overkill. It might make you feel good. It's easy to consume. You feel focused afterwards. You feel inspired. But if we're not actually doing the work afterwards, then it's pretty pointless. It's a bit like learning medicine, but never actually practicing medicine. Now, first of all, we need to be selfish with our health. Exercise, nutrition, mindset, and peer group. Like, all of these things need to be on point. We need to make sure that we're removing toxic habits and negative people without worry about the consequences, and replacing them with people that do align with our future. So again, if you need to let someone go, don't feel selfish about it. Their happiness is not your responsibility, yours is. If someone else is dragging you down, don't allow them to continue to do it because you think you need to be there for them and you need to be unselfish and they need you and they need your support. You're not helping. Like, my mentor said one of the best things last weekend when I was at his house. And he literally said, me and my friendship circle, and they're all ultra successful, we literally have a zero tolerance for victims. Zero tolerance for blaming, zero tolerance for bullshit, zero tolerance for excuses. They just will not tolerate it within their circles. And nor should you, because all it does is suck your energy. Nobody needs mood hoovers in your life. Okay, nobody needs oxygen thieves who just literally want to get up and just moan and blame and complain and justify. Those people need to go. And they need to go fast, and you shouldn't feel wrong for doing it. Now, you don't have to make big statements about this. You don't have to be brutal. You can just replace people as you go, and just slowly begin to unfollow people. Allow people to leave your life without making some huge, big statement. Like, people say this all the time, and I wrote this down. I'm not on Facebook anymore because it's full of, complete the sentence, negative people. Well, what's the person doing who's saying that? They're being negative and they're being judgmental. Like, you don't have to let other people's opinions frame your life, because there's lots of positive people on Facebook as well. You're just choosing to ignore them and you're choosing to read the negative ones. But we can remove them, replace them. We can slowly start to move away from people that don't align with how we want to be. We don't have to make a big sweeping statement about what we're doing, okay? Now, the other thing that we need to be selfish with, so that's kind of, we're being a little bit selfish with our energy. So we're not allowing those people into our life. We're selfishly protecting our energy. And the next thing is time, right? You've got to be selfish with your time. And as I said again, I'm not saying don't give your time to other people. I give lots of my time to other people, but I also make sure I have my time for me. And this comes from scheduling. What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. And if you don't have a schedule and a plan for your day that's in the calendar, you know damn well it won't happen. If you haven't put your gym session in the calendar today, look me in the eyes right now and tell me you have any intention of going, and I'll tell you you're a liar. Because if it's not scheduled, it's not going to get done. If it's not in the diary, you have no intention of going. And if you say wishy-washy things like, I might go to the gym later after work, I'm going to see how I feel. Well, I guarantee you on Logan's Life, you won't feel like it and you won't go. And also, you have to have that ability to say no and not to be a people pleaser. Oh, Mum, I've just forgotten. So-and-so said this later. Can you take me there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? No, I'm really sorry, I can't. I've got a gym session. That doesn't make you a bad person. You can't spend your life being a fucking walking alarm clock for other people's agenda, or working or walking doorbell. Bing bong. Oh, Lee's here. He'll just do whatever I ask him to do, because you'll just end up resentful. Okay. And again, if it's an emergency and people need helping, yeah, absolutely do it. But, your life should have your plans, and it should have to be something pretty critical in order to get you to change that. But you'll always have people in your life that will just ring you up and expect you to drop everything at that moment because they need you. You have to put yourself first. So, I always joke about planning, don't I? And when if I'm on a sales call with people and they're thinking about joining Unbreakable 90 or Elite 365 or any of the plans, I always say to them at the beginning, success is not sexy. And that's why I get people on a call, because I have to describe it to them. I have to make sure that they're a good fit for the coaching plan, because anyone can see things on social media that say lose 50 pounds in 5 weeks without going to the gym or stopping eating pizza, or make £5 million a year without ever doing any marketing or sending a cold DM, or any of these adverts that we see. But essentially, planning and results aren't sexy. They require you to be selfish. They require hard work. They require sacrifice. They're not quick. They're slow. They're sustainable, and they're balanced. But nobody really wants this. They want to go from zero to hero in record time. And if I actually put that out in terms of marketing, I don't think anyone would ever get in touch with me. So imagine if you see an advert, it's yeah, it's going to be slow, it's going to be sustainable, you're going to have to sacrifice, you're going to have to be selfish, you're going to have to say no. Most people's heads will be going, oh, I'm not going to do this. So marketers do the opposite. They sell you the actual dream of you can get the thing without the thing. And you can't. So moving on to another thing here that I kind of want to discuss with, the whole zero to hero thing, or the all or nothing mindset. Now, if you were all of the time, one, you would have to be ultra selfish, probably to a level that you would be a bit of an idiot, right? You probably wouldn't be a nice person. You're literally saying, I have no time for other people whatsoever. If you're a nothing person, you're probably the person that's just putting everyone before themselves and never doing nothing, because you're an all or nothing person. So all means all of the time, not considering anyone else, and it's a one-way road to burnout. So that doesn't work. Nothing means doing nothing for yourself, none of the time, always putting other people first and never going anywhere. That's going to be a one-way road to misery. So we have to look in the middle, but you're going to have a certain level of selfishness in order to achieve results. So the other thing is that you probably don't realize, most people will actually respect you for it, for making strong decisions, for standing by what they said they were going to do, which is integrity. But, people will convince you that you don't have to sacrifice, that you don't have to be selfish, that you can generally just continue doing what you're doing and get the results. And that's not true, because anything worth having will take time. It will take effort. It will take sacrifice. You're going to have to be relentless with your training, your nutrition, your mindset, building your business. You're going to have to go through failure and setback and disappointment, which we did the training on a couple of weeks ago. And essentially, you're going to have to be selfish. So, most people who are successful are a little bit selfish, but no one really calls them out on it. No one really says, oh yeah, he's successful, but he's so selfish. Because generally, successful people who are selfish are happy people. So the next point that I'm going to come on to before we go into a few further action steps for today's training. So don't forget to reward yourself along the way. And you've heard me say this so many times, like, focus on the process, not the prize. Focus on the journey, not the destination. Because even when you get the thing, if you can't carry on doing the thing that you did to get the thing, then you're going to go back to square one. And you'll very quickly realize that there's no happy end to an unhappy journey. So we have to make sure we're happy along the way, getting what we want, because essentially we're going to have to keep doing what we're doing if we want to keep hold of it. But there's also the training, which I want you guys to go back on, which is the daily wins. Like, it's all well and good being selfish and I'm not going to spend any money and I'm going to save and I'm going to work 18 hours and I'm going to go to the gym this amount of times per week and I'm going to do all of these things, drifting back towards the all or nothing person. But we have to have micro rewards along the way. So it might be, in business, when I get to this number, I'm going to treat myself to a new car. When I get to this number, I'm going to take the family on a dream holiday to the Maldives. When I get to this number, I'm going to build my garage extension. So all of the people in your life benefit from those things as well. So you're not just rewarding them, you're rewarding yourself. But if you just constantly work, train, sacrifice, be selfish with no real reward, then again, you'll also start to become pretty resentful. And rather than just this is a great mindset hack to really keep you going, rather than just, oh, I'll be happy when I achieve X, reframe that to, I'll reward myself with X when I achieve X. So let's use a financial example in business, okay? So if you were just like, oh, I just want to make $100,000 a year because that's what I've always wanted and I want to be a 6-figure business owner and X, Y, and Z, well, doesn't really mean anything unless you're one of those people who wants to blast it over social media just to show the world how great you are and what you've achieved and X, Y, and Z. Like, there has to be meaning behind the money. There has to be meaning behind the mission. So, when I get to this, I'm going to be able to take 6 more hours off work per week to spend with my son, and I'm going to be able to take him to Disneyland. All of a sudden, I'm not selfish for doing the goal because the outcome impacts other people. And I'm also rewarding myself along the way. So I don't just keep battering myself, chasing an endless goal that seems unachievable. And as soon as I set it, I'll set another one and another one and another one. That's a very, very long road to nowhere. And that's certainly a road that I used to be on. And it was always searching significance and validation as well. So, another part of, I wrote down here in my notes, another part of being selfish is like, sometimes people just work and graft and do whatever they do in any area of life. And they literally never ever reward themselves. They do it all for someone else. Like I know multi-millionaire businessmen who wouldn't even spend £100 buying themselves a new shirt, even though they like it, because they feel selfish. Now that's taking money away from the kids. Rewarding yourself is a massive part of the journey if you want it to be happy. So set targets and goals and things that you can reward yourself with, and things that are going to make you feel good and then make you feel inspired to go back to work at the end of it. So action steps we can go through here that, things that maybe people would see as selfish, but I don't see as selfish. And I think when you do them, you'll be happier and healthier and live longer, and everyone in your life will get the best version of you. So take control of your own diary. This is so important, and you have to do it early, and you have to stop saying no to everyone and people pleasing as well. I've had to do it so much this month purely because there's not enough time, and I'm actually now planning 3 months ahead to look at things, because even with filming these when I've had discussions with come up points. It's like I've just accidentally, through ill thought and poor planning, put so much in 1 week that it was literally ridiculous to get it all done without working all day, every day on Saturday and Sunday. So there's a level of planning and taking ownership of your own schedule. But also, as I've said before, having that ability to say no matter how important the thing is. Because some people will just say yes to everything and then constantly moan about the fact that they're too busy. So, as I've taught you guys before, the easiest way to do this is to be, listen, Jane, I massively thank you for thinking of me, but I've already got too much on in August. I'm completely oversubscribed. If an opportunity comes up again like this, I'd love to do it. But unfortunately, in me for August, it's a no. Oh, but I really wanted you to do it. There just isn't the time. I'm really sorry. You have to get firm with it. There's so many of you in this program as well that have aesthetics salons, nails salons, Jess and James, dog groomers. And there's points when I've spoken to all of you and you're literally clients control your life because, no, I can't fit any more dogs into. Oh, no, but all right, I'll do it then. And before you know it, it's exactly back to what I was talking about. An inability to say no to the kids or the wife or husband, an inability to say no to clients pushing for an extra time, an inability to say no to certain friends who want to do social things and everything in between. And if you don't get a handle on that, like I said, you'll just be a walk-in doorbell for other people's agendas. So that's the first thing. Second one is to remove toxic people and places. I had to massively do this for Clubland, and don't feel selfish about it. They might say, oh, but I really like you coming to the festivals and it's not the same when you're not there. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to that festival and getting leathered just because you think I'm fun to be there. But honestly, hand on heart, how many of you have said yes to a social thing and gone and got leathered and it negatively impacted your own life, and the whole time you didn't want to do it, you didn't want to do it before, you didn't want to do it when they asked, you didn't enjoy it when you were there, and all you did was moan about it in quiet. Like, you have the ability to change those things, and don't feel selfish for doing it. Number 3 is authentically decide what you really want. Not what your husband or wife wants, not what your dog wants, not what your kids want, not what your boss wants, not your business partner wants. What do you want? Like, find your voice and be willing to stand up for it. Find your opinion and then figure out what you need to plan and sacrifice in order to achieve it. So this is the reality of a situation that I've experienced so many times over the years with clients. And it's normally a male and a female, and very often it's the female who wants to stop. So the female will decide, it isn't strictly, but normally, I don't know why, they kind of want a cover model body. They really want to get in great shape. They're absolutely sick of drinking at home. They're sick of the life that they're living. They're sick of hangovers. They're sick of meaningless weekends. And they want to go all in. They want to go on. And another great example is people who want to go all in on a business, but their parents tell them no. Parents that have never run a business. And they end up not doing it because they weren't willing to have the difficult conversations. And their partner says, yeah, but I like fun, Jen. But Jen, we have barbecues and we have people over every weekend. Go on, Jen, have a drink. Oh, you're not going to be able to go to that and not have a drink. And rather than figuring out what you need to sacrifice and being open and honest about it, we just end up not doing it because we have an inappropriate need for other people to agree with us and to avoid confrontation. So decide what you want, decide what you need to sacrifice to get it, go all in. And I promise you, the right people will support you and the other people don't matter. As long as you really explain it carefully why you're doing the thing that you're doing. And trust me, hand on heart, if a husband or wife goes to their partner and says, listen, I've been feeling this way, I'm not enjoying boozing every weekend, it's a total waste of money, I feel crap all the time, it's affecting my mental health, I feel miserable with the way I look, I'm overweight, none of my clothes fit, I just want to stop drinking and get into the gym and live a healthier life. And they try to convince you to do the opposite for their needs. You should not be in that relationship, kids or not. Straight up, unless they say, okay, totally cool. We're not going to be in alignment on this one, but I'm happy for you to do your thing and you're going to do mine, and then we'll do our thing in the middle. That still works. Like, you have to as well. This is where selfishness can get very confusing, right? They say, well, I still want to drink at the barbecue and I still want to go to that festival and I still want to, that's absolutely fine. You have to have as little problem with that as they should have with you deciding that you want to stop. Does that make sense? Because you can't expect them to not judge you for what you want to do, but then judge them because they don't want to jump on the same journey as you. You can make it work within a relationship. And so often, whether it's in business or finance or any of these things, not only do we either don't do what we want to do because we want to fit in, inappropriate need to be accepted, or when we do make the decision, we want everyone to also do what we do and support us, and if not they're negative. The amount of times people get into personal development, fitness, and then all of a sudden everyone who isn't into personal development or fitness is a fucking negative loser and X, Y, and Z. Like, you can only ever be the light bulb. The light bulb? You can only ever be the lighthouse, not the tugboat. So you can be this beacon of energy, of sacrifice, of putting yourself first, of achieving great things, and you can attract those people to you because you're the lighthouse. But if you're the tugboat, friction, two people pulling in opposite directions is never ever going to work. You have to both be okay with where other people are on their journey, and that's whether it's an intimate relationship or a friendship one. And the final one was reward yourself when you do well, and stop worrying about, I've got another whole training on 5 strategies to stop worrying, but stop worrying about celebrating your wins. Stop worrying about being loud about what you're achieving, because the reality is, like, everyone is more than willing to talk about, what's gone wrong and what they're not achieving and where they've let themselves down or who's letting them down in their world. And yet when it comes to, I've achieved this, I'm really happy, I've smashed it, I've got my abs out, I've made loads of money this month, I've done all of these things, I've bought myself a new car, I've bought myself a new house, I just worked so hard, I saved up and got the extension. We either don't reward ourselves because we feel bad, or we reward ourselves but then we're petrified of talking about it because we're worried about what people think. And that will also never lead to a happy life. So I hope that's been helpful today, guys. But, to wrap up, the final points are, it just always remember, it's a very misunderstood word, selfish. Like, being selfish, what's an example of what I would class as being selfish? Going to the pub and getting pissed when you can barely afford to put food on the table for your kids, and your kids and your partner really need you at home. That's selfish, okay? Taking 1 hour out per day when you expect that to be respected, so you can go to the gym and you can have your time and you can do your mindset work and you can go to the gym, and making sure everyone knows about it and continuing to progress towards your goals and not allowing people to derail you, and being standing firm with what you want and what you want to do because you're authentic, isn't selfish. And as I said, the right people will back you and the wrong people don't matter, which is why being unselfish and putting yourself first is the most unselfish thing you can do. It's because of the ripple factor. When you become the very best version of yourself, everyone in your life gets the very best version of you. And that's why it's completely unselfish. Guys, I love you all. See you next week. We're going to be doing an epic training on how to stop worrying, which is a big thing that holds so many people back.